Let me tell you something I learned the hard way. The older you get, the more you realize that not everyone deserves your kindness. When you've lived a full life, you naturally want to help others. Your time, your wisdom, even a bit of money. But here's the truth. Some people don't want help. They want to use you. They'll drain your energy, twist your goodwill, and leave you feeling used, guilty, and worse, empty. In this video, I'm going to share 5 types of people you should never help in your old age, no matter how sweet they sound or how desperate they seem. Protecting your peace and your emotional well-being is not selfish. It's survival. Stick with me to the end, and you might just save yourself years of regret. And if this speaks to you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because your wisdom deserves to be protected. Let's begin. Number 1. The chronic taker. I used to believe that if I helped enough, if I was sincere and kind, people would eventually change, appreciate it, and become better. But after over 70 years of living, I've had to accept a hard truth. Not everyone deserves your kindness, and the more you help some people, the more it costs you. I call them chronic takers. The ones who only show up when they need something from you. Money, advice, sympathy, or even just a place to unload their problems. They know how to speak sweetly. They make you feel important, like you're the only one they trust. At first, you help them with all your heart. The second time you think, just one more time. But by the 10th, you're exhausted. And the worst part? They never truly care about you. I have a friend named Robert, a kind, humble man who saved his whole life. But recently, he had to sell his old car, not to travel or cover medical bills, but to pay off debts for a nephew who kept borrowing money and never paying it back. Robert thought family mattered more than money, but one day, he quietly admitted to me, by helping him, I lost both my savings and my peace of mind. We, seniors, often have soft hearts. We've lived through hardship, war, and loss. So when we see others struggling, our first instinct is to help. But remember this. Kindness does not mean letting others take advantage of you. If you keep helping someone and they never grow, never change, then you're no longer helping, you're enabling. The scary thing is that chronic takers know how to manipulate emotions. They make you feel guilty if you say no. They remind you of all the times you helped, as if you owe them. But you owe no one anything, especially if they've never given back. Setting boundaries doesn't make you mean. It makes you strong and self-respecting. So what's the solution? If someone only shows up when they need something and never checks in on your well-being, it's time to stop. You don't need to argue. Just say, "I'm not in a position to help right now." That simple sentence protects your peace. Old age isn't a time to carry the weight of others who refuse to stand on their own. Save your strength, your money, and your heart for those who truly appreciate it. People who give back, who care, who ask how you are without expecting anything. Because in the end, you're not here to rescue the world. You're here to preserve your own peace. Number 2. The emotional manipulator. There's a kind of person who will never directly say, "I need your help." Yet somehow, they always make you feel like you have to do something for them. No clear requests, no specific needs, just deep sighs, sad stories told in passing, or a sorrowful glance that leaves you feeling guilty if you don't step in. These are emotional manipulators, and if you don't recognize the pattern early on, they can take over your time, your energy, and even your peace, without you realizing it. I saw this clearly in the experience of an old friend of mine, Mrs. Harris, 70 years old, kind-hearted, respected by all. There was a relative on her husband's side who often called just to share his struggles, stress with the kids, his wife losing his job, back pain, unpaid bills. He never asked for help outright, but after every call, Mrs. Harris would quietly send some money, buy medicine, or ask friends to find work for his wife. At first, she believed she was doing the right thing. Families should help each other, she said. But then, she fell and had to be hospitalized. For nearly 2 weeks, not a single call, not a single visit. That's when she realized their relationship had always been one-sided. Emotional manipulators don't demand help. They make you feel like you must offer it, and when you stop, they make you feel guilty. The danger at our age is that we often have softer hearts. We've lived through losses, so we easily sympathize with others. But there's a fine line between kindness and being taken advantage of. Without boundaries, your compassion becomes a tool others can use to control you. Ask yourself, when I needed someone, were they there? If the answer is no, you have your truth. Real relationships go both ways. If someone only comes around when they need something and disappears when you're in need, that's not a friend. It's someone using you. Most importantly, you have every right to say no, without guilt. You don't have to explain. You can choose to protect your peace. Those who truly care will understand your boundaries. Those who don't were never really there for you anyway. I know it's easier said than done. Many seniors live with loneliness, and even toxic relationships can feel like a lifeline. But remember this: peace in old age doesn't come from pleasing everyone. It comes from choosing who truly deserves your energy. Don't give so much that you lose sight of your own worth. Don't let anyone make you feel like a bad person for setting limits. And don't fear losing someone who never truly cared. Because you're not losing love. You're letting go of a burden. Be kind, yes, but be wise. At this stage of life, you deserve to be loved the right way. Number 3. The reckless. At this stage in life, we don't just carry experience, we carry the scars of lessons learned the hard way. And among the most common mistakes I've seen older adults make, one stands out again and again: helping someone who doesn't respect the value of money. Someone who recklessly spends and pulls you down with them. I once knew a man named Henry, a quiet, thoughtful man who had spent his life as an accountant and always managed his finances wisely. But he had a grandson, Jake, who constantly lived beyond his means. New car, latest phone, weekend trips, all funded by credit cards. Every time Jake hit a financial wall, he called Grandpa with a new story. Lost his job, surprise bills, just one last time, I promise. And out of love, Henry always helped. But 1 year turned into 2, and nothing improved. In fact, it got worse. Every time Henry tried to say no, Jake would get upset, making him feel selfish. It wasn't until Henry looked at his savings account, the one he'd built his entire life, and saw half of it gone, that the truth hit him. He wasn't helping Jake grow up. He was just enabling him to keep failing. That's the danger with reckless spenders. They don't need rescuing. They need to face the consequences of their choices. And if you keep stepping in, they'll never learn how to stand on their own. We older folks often have this deep sense of, if I can help, I should, especially with family. But hear me clearly. Helping someone should never come at the cost of your own financial security. Support is only meaningful if it encourages growth, not dependency. If someone in your life is constantly in a money crisis, always looking for bailouts, but never changing their habits, it's time to draw the line. You have every right to say, I can't help like I used to. You don't need to justify. You don't need to feel guilty, and you certainly don't need to become anyone's personal ATM. At this age, the only financial future you should be protecting is your own. Because when your money runs out, the people you sacrificed for likely won't be the ones helping you back up. Set boundaries. Protect your future. Be sure your generosity isn't fueling someone else's irresponsibility. Love isn't about giving endlessly. It's about helping others grow and stand on their own. And if they refuse to learn that, the kindest thing you can do is let them. If you found these insights valuable, let me know by commenting yes below. Your thoughts matter, and I'd love to hear from you. Number 4. The always right person. At this age, I've learned one very important thing. Advice only works if the person is truly willing to receive it. And among all the people we meet in life, there's one type that quietly drains your peace. The person who always thinks they're right, the one who never listens, yet constantly comes to you just to unload their problems. At first, they make you feel trusted. They come to you with their troubles, conflicts, failed plans, relationship drama. And because you've lived through so much, you want to help. You offer guidance, speak from experience, share what you've learned with honesty and care. But soon, you realize something. They never take your advice. They nod, smile, say thank you, and then go back to doing exactly what got them into trouble in the first place. I remember once, a distant niece in her mid-30s came to me for advice about investing. I spent nearly an entire afternoon warning her to be careful, not to borrow money for risky ventures she didn't understand. She listened, nodded, even took notes. But a few months later, she called me, devastated. She'd lost all her savings in a high-risk investment. When I asked her what happened, she said, "Well, my friend said it was a sure thing." I wasn't angry. I just finally understood. Some people don't want guidance, they want approval. The always right person isn't looking for wisdom, they're looking for validation. If you don't say what they want to hear, they dismiss you. Worse, they may call you outdated, too traditional, or not keeping up with the times. And over time, you may start questioning yourself. You may wonder, am I being too harsh? Maybe I should just stay quiet. No, you are not wrong. You're simply speaking to someone who's not ready to change. As we age, our kindness can become a double-edged sword. We've seen pain, loss, regret, so when others suffer, we feel deeply. We want to protect, to guide, to give. But don't let your empathy become the trap that holds you in unhealthy, one-sided relationships. Ask yourself this: when I need help, is this person ever there for me? If the answer is no, you already know the truth. True friendship goes both ways. If someone only reaches out when they need something, but disappears when you're struggling, that's not a friend. That's an opportunist. You have the right to say no. You don't owe an explanation. And most importantly, you have the right to prioritize your peace. Those who truly love and respect you will accept your boundaries. Those who get angry when you say no, they were only there for what they could take, not for who you are. At this stage in life, we don't have time to carry misplaced guilt. Protecting your emotional space is not selfish. It's necessary. You've earned the right to peace, to rest, to surround yourself only with people who value your wisdom and presence. Because peace in old age doesn't come from fixing everyone's problems. It comes from knowing who is truly worth your time, your love, and your advice. Number 5. The perpetual victim. At our age, we've seen enough to understand that life is never a straight road. Everyone stumbles at times. Everyone has felt lost in the middle of hardships. And after we've gone through our own losses, pain, or betrayal, we become more open, especially to those who seem to be suffering too. We want to be the kind of people who listen, who care. We can't easily turn our backs on someone who appears to need us. But there's a certain kind of person, and if you're not careful, your kindness can become a rope that ties you down, pulling you into a cycle of emotional exhaustion. These are the people who always see themselves as victims. They always blame others, and they rarely, if ever, take responsibility for their own lives. This is the type of person I call the perpetual victim. And if you're not careful, you'll get pulled into their negative spiral, offering your sympathy, your time, and your emotional energy without even realizing it. At first, they come across as someone wounded, someone who just needs a listening ear or a little comfort. You open your heart, you empathize, you think they just need a small push to get back on their feet. But then you notice, every time you offer advice, they explain why it won't work. Every time you offer help, another sad story follows. And when you say no, somehow you end up feeling guilty. I saw this firsthand with an old friend of mine, Arthur, 75, a retired librarian. He met a woman named Maria at a yoga class. Everyone felt sorry for her. She'd lost her husband, her children rarely called, and she was often unwell. Arthur, being his kind self, invited her to classes, helped schedule doctor's visits, and even offered some financial support. But he soon realized that nothing he did encouraged her to be more independent. Maria never took initiative. It was always, "I can't. I don't know what to do. No one helps me." And no matter how much support she received, she always played the victim of her family, society, and fate. Perpetual victims don't seek solutions, they seek attention. They want emotional caretaking, like grown-up children. And the scary part is, the more you help, the more you're expected to fix things for them. You don't just feel tired, you begin to doubt yourself. Am I being too cold? What if no one else helps them? And before you know it, you're stuck. At our age, we must stay sharp. Compassion is a beautiful thing, but it should not be misplaced. If you see someone constantly playing the victim without ever taking steps to change, it may be time to step back. You can still care. You can still wish them well, but you don't have to carry their burdens for them. Remember, kindness does not mean self-sacrifice. And if someone only shows up in your life to drain you emotionally, you have every right to set a boundary. You're not selfish, you're protecting your peace. Because at a certain point in life, it's no longer about pleasing everyone. It's about living with clarity, lightness, and staying true to your own heart. Before you go, take a deep breath and ask yourself honestly, have you ever given so much to someone that it left you feeling empty? Have you ever lost sleep worrying about someone who never once asked how you were doing? If so, you're not alone. Many of us, especially in our later years, carry hearts full of love, but forget to save some of that love for ourselves. This stage of life should be about peace, not pressure. About choosing who gets your time, not feeling guilty for saying no. And that's what this video was really about, giving you permission to protect your peace. Helping others isn't wrong, it's beautiful. But helping the wrong people? That's where we begin to lose ourselves. From now on, choose your kindness with care, set boundaries with confidence, and surround yourself with people who see your value, not just your usefulness. Now I'd love to hear from you. Was there a type of person today that resonated with your own life? Leave a comment below. Your story might be exactly what another viewer needs to read. And if this video gave you something to think about, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, so you never miss a moment of wisdom we'll be sharing together. Your support means the world to us, and it helps this community of strong, kind, wise seniors grow every single day. Take care of yourself, you've earned it, and I'll see you in the next one.